caring for the land. Her grandfather was the first Mexican-American farmer in the Sacramento County, Jose Soto, and an early pioneer of the use of organic methods to grow his crops. Let's back up. I didn't say that. As a student at the University of Pacific, Rosalyn established a nonprofit organization to help survivors from the Cleveland Elementary School massacre in Stockton, where 5 children were killed and 29 wounded. This effort involved in a long-term project linking UOP students with mentoring opportunities at Cleveland Elementary and other local public schools. After graduating with a degree in English, Rosalyn returned to East Sac, where she established a successful real estate business, which she sold in order to give her the freedom and flexibility to follow her passion, which is working with youth-based organizations. Welcome, Rosalyn.
Thank you, Ms. Perez, and thank you, Unidos Latinos, for having us here today and giving us an opportunity and a forum and a place to speak on some very important issues. And I'll briefly touch on my VEF, but I'll share a little bit about myself first. As you heard, I was actually born and raised in this district that I'm running in. My mother was a nurse at Center Hospital, and I come from a family of farmers. And my family farm has been in the history of our family for over 70 years. And so on the weekends and on the summers, I'd have to drive back and forth to Winters and work on the farm. And it meant driving tractors and forklifts and picking tomatoes. A lot of people don't believe it when they see me in these heels, but I have the pictures to prove it. And it was very difficult work, and it's where I learned a lot of my work ethic and where I started to get a taste of what being Latino really meant, and the richness of our culture, the togetherness, the hard work that we endure, the stamina, the intellect. There's so much that goes into farming, and I'm so proud that my grandfather, Jose Soto, was actually one of the first Mexican-American farm owners in Yolo County. And I look now and I think sometimes, how did he manage to figure out the importance of owning your land when so many of us came here and just worked? But he was able to put together a few pennies and buy a small lot of acreage and put us to work and taught us the ethics and made sure he instilled the importance of education. And that's why it's so frustrating. And for me, a big reason of why I'm running, because so many of us do what we're supposed to do. So many of us go to work on time, we educate our children, but still the opportunity is not there. And a big reason why I'm running is so that my children have the opportunity and that yours will as well. I see my neighbors, I see my family, I see my friends continuously applying for jobs, continuously applying for education, and getting a stack of rejection letters. I have a young woman who's working on my campaign now. She's a sophomore here at Sac State. She's Latina. She comes from Natomas. She graduated from Natomas High School, and she was homeless. She graduated with a 3.6 GPA. She was able to stay away from drugs and gangs and prostitution and all the things that come when you're vulnerable like that. But she found her way, and she's now here a sophomore at Sac State. She's done everything she's supposed to do. She studies, and she has this mentality that education is her way out. But what does that tell our children? What does that tell our youth when they've done everything they're supposed to do, they follow the rules, and still, when they graduate from college, they're not able to get a job? What does that say about us fundamentally as a people when we cannot provide that for those that have done what they're supposed to? We have a lot of exciting things within our district here in District 3, and this is the first time we've had an election with the way that it's drawn now. And so it does encompass Sac State, the very grounds that we're on now, East Sacramento and River Park, Cal Expo, South Natomas, and Gardenland, and the River District. And District 3 for me is very important for a lot of reasons. One, because we do have a very large Latino representation in South Natomas, and I identify myself as being part of that ethnic group. We have the largest population of Latinos in Natomas High School, but we also have the largest dropout rate. We have the largest population of youth in foster care. So there's a lot of issues that we need to address with our community. And we've heard the stories of how Natomas has felt that they've been neglected, and I've heard them as well when I'm walking the precincts. I was at Gardenland last Saturday, and I saw the shocks in people's faces that I was there knocking on their door, that I'm the first candidate to knock on their door since Heather Fargo or Ray Trethaway. And so it's my sincere intent to make sure that South Natomas' voice is heard. It's my background in working with youth organizations that I'll make sure that I work with the school districts and work with Natomas High to make sure that we have programs for our youth so that we are going to be able to reduce this dropout rate and have things for them to do. Because that's what I'm hearing from the voters in South Latomas, even from the people that don't have children. They want our youth to have a chance. They want them to be able to have opportunities after school with jobs and work and recreation so that their focus isn't lost. We have some exciting things going on in District 3 that's also very important to me, and a lot of it's because of the development that's going to happen. The arena downtown has got a lot of attention, but for the most part, District 3 has the largest amount of land mass that can be developed in all of Sacramento. The rail yards is a very huge project. It's going to be a giant economic boom for Sacramento. We have the expansion of light rail. It's going to be going through South Latomas to the airport. And we have lots of pockets throughout the area that they're going to be looking at being developed. And it's very important that we have someone in leadership that's going to be sensitive to the needs of Latinos so that we can get the jobs that are going to be developed, that we can get the representation that's going to be needed there. Cal Expo is an exciting time right now, which is also in our district. Even though it's a state-owned property, we have the Republic, our soccer, some of us call it football, is going to be playing there. And we have been able to outsell in the history of any opening day for the Federation, selling over 20,000 tickets. And that says a lot, and I think a lot of it has to do with our base and our love for what, the sports that we like to watch. And so it's my intent to ensure that when the time comes for a new facility, because it will, that it stays in District 3. So we're able to keep all the economic advantages from having that type of revenue within our district, and that our community is going to be represented. So I thank you for this opportunity. Also, I wanted to let you know that, as we know, May 5th is coming up, and it's Cinco de Mayo, and the background of it has, in some areas, lost its meaning, but for most of us, we know what the intent is. It's not necessarily just going to have margaritas, but if you give me your email at the end of our event, please, I will share with you some information. We have a very important issue coming up at the state capitol. They're going to be selecting who's going to be on the committee with California-Mexico relations. And it's important for us to be heard and to make sure that who's elected is going to represent the needs of the Mexican community and Latino community here in Sacramento. So I thank you, and my time is up, and questions? No questions? Okay, good. Oh, right there.
Yeah. What do you have for the unemployment situation to gear up some jobs? All this is really nice, all these things you've been involved in. The community needs jobs. And so what idea do you have to create some of that, bring businesses here to generate these jobs for the community?
Right. Well, I'm glad you brought that up. Because, in fact, I'm the only candidate running in this entire race for District 3 that's in favor of the arena, that's in favor of McKinley Village, that's in favor of a lot of development that's going to be happening in our district. And a lot of the reason is because of the jobs it's going to produce, the revenue that's going to bring, not just in labor, but also in the arts. Whether you're a basketball fan or not, that's not really the case. There's 40 games out of the year that the Kings are going to be playing there. It's going to bring $1 billion in revenue, and it's going to bring a lot of jobs here to Sacramento. It's going to boost our economy. So I've spoken very, very out positively in regards to the arena. I'm the only candidate that's spoken in favor of McKinley Village for significant reasons, but a lot of it is because the revenue it's going to bring to the city, the jobs it's going to produce, the $2 million it's going to give to our local schools. So I think Sacramento, especially East Sacramento, we have a reputation for being not very friendly business. When we have a sign on I Street, we're looking at converting a Jehovah's Witness hall that's abandoned into assisted living, and we have signs all over the neighborhood saying "Stop the Monster." And it's housing for our seniors. So I think we can't be so quick to say yes to everything, but we can't be so quick to say no either. And it means that we're going to have to support some of the projects that come in Sacramento because we've grown. We've doubled in size in almost the last 10 years. It also means working in conjunction with the unions. I think that's very important in trade schools and making sure that labor is involved and making sure that all the jobs that come through Sacramento are going to be as local as possible.
I heard what you're in favor of. I'm just wondering, can you name at least one item that you would not be for or against?
I'm not in favor of strong mayor. That's probably one of the biggest topics that's brought quite a bit to us as being a city council representative, and I don't support strong mayor, and I feel that if I'm elected, it's my job to make sure and to ensure that everything I can bring to our district is going to be represented by me solely. Without that type of form of government, it makes it more difficult to do so, and that's why it's very important to make sure that we elect someone in our city council races that's strong enough to work with the current mayor and the current city council. You know, it's not an easy job by any means, and I think that you see some of the systems when it hasn't been done as positively, but District 3 is extremely important district because of the job growth that's going to happen. And we have a large Latino representation, so that's the one thing I do not agree with, Ms. John Mayor.